What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to Blast Beats with one of your three amazing co hosts, Zach Nur. I just got off of an 8 hour shift and we're here primed and ready for it. As always, I am joined by Chris Spooner. How you
I'm doing
doing today,
great, man.
Spoon?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. As I was telling you guys before, busy week. I finally moved into my new apartment on Friday. Saturday. I have to work on Friday, so I'll do a little bit of moving. But I have Saturday off, and I move in, and then after that, the content is coming at you fast. But I would be I would be crazy to not also say what's up to our wonderful friend Larry. What's going on, my man, Radical Larry?
What's up, guys? Happy to be back on the mics with you three again. You two. Damn
Oh
it.
yeah, not
Damn it.
quite a difference in time this time. We're getting things a lot back on track. We're getting things better and back to what they were. But life's
hmm
crazy. And stuff just pops up. So I mean, we're doing our best, and like once I get my full setup back, it'll be even easier. And hopefully there might be some job changing here in the future, so that means the schedules will get even easier too. But that's all for the future. We need to talk about the here and now, and we've been listening to some fantastic music over the past couple of weeks. um and to kick things off, I don't know, when we made the last episode, had the absolute anthem that is I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm just going to spell it out. AAJ. Had that been released yet?
We
Didn't
haven't
we already
talked
talk
about
about
it.
that?
We had not.
Oh yes, that song is absolutely amazing. I have never, like, it's like song of the year for me. It's going to be so hard for it to beat. Um, Flutes, woodwind solos, and metal are incredible, and it was something that I never expected to love with every freaking ounce of my living soul.
That's got a hook of all hooks for me.
It's crazy. It's so good. It's so good. And it's a single. It's the single.
hmm
I haven't listened to this one yet.
Have you heard anything from those guys before?
You
Oh my
haven't
No,
heard
god,
it yet?
I've
Spoon.
been meaning to go check it out, but
It's
I just haven't gotten around to it. So I definitely need to.
Blo- Bloodywood, AAJ or Aj, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, off of their upcoming album Rack Shack. Um oh man.
so
Like,
I'm there's a sound in there that I hope somebody listens to it, they might go, "Oh my god, that's it." They have a, a backbeat that is the same as the music they play in a hibachi grill. Like some sort of like Asian fusion techno blast beat overlaying with some like harsh vocals and obviously a good riff.
are you talking about the opening, like when it first comes in before the flute?
Kind of that, but there's also something you can kind of hear subtly, um, like after like the big hook, like for the last time the hook comes around, for the build up, like right at that crescendo, you can kind of hear it. I don't, it
Okay,
just reminded me of being at the hibachi grill.
because does it also have, it has the harp too, right?
Yeah, I think
That's the
so.
beginning. Jeez, like God, the harp and the flute. The flute solo in the second half is absolutely knock your socks off. Out of, I mean, you've already gotten a taste of some of it because part of it is featured throughout the song, but then they just expand like nothing else on that already like part that they put in. Eh, oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, Spoon. When we're done, you gotta get off and
Yeah,
you gotta listen to this, because it.
I really do need to listen to it. I
It's
heard the previous single from this album, and I'm really intrigued by the sound that they've got going on. And I've heard a lot of great things about Aj. Pretty much everybody that I see talking about it raves about it. So I really do need to go listen to it.
It
and
is an absolute anthem. That
and
describes
not
it perfectly as an anthem.
yeah, and not that it matters to me in this sense, but their vocals are multilingual with half Indian and half English. so there is stuff that I understand. Um, However, I'm not one to completely or to knock completely like foreign music for with like the language I don't understand at all because I mean it's still good. I still listen to Rammstein. Like Du
I mean,
Hast is a freaking bop.
Yeah,
slaughter
exactly.
to
That was
prevail.
one of my albums of the year last year.
Where are they from? Where's
Russia.
Slaughter to Prevail from?
Russia.
Oh,
Yep,
I didn't know
they're
that.
yep, they're from
That's
Russia, and
crazy.
most of their songs are either completely or at least mostly in Russian.
That's got to be. I mean that's just got to fit because and that's like there's certain languages that when you hear them spoken, you're like, mm, that's
Yeah,
good for real. Like German has to be
yeah, German and
fantastic. You know,
Russian. There's just
yeah,
something about somebody screaming at you in
yeah.
Russian that just sounds so primal.
The Slavic, the Slavic languages have to be fantastic. Um, I mean, up in the Norway, Sweden,
Yeah,
and Finland. I mean, I feel like that's got to be. I mean, they that has very heavy presence. I mean, freaking Viking metal. There's whole woo. Sorry. Yes. So yeah, that song absolutely incredible. And that's only we've only dove into one single. There's been so much music released over the past couple of weeks. We'll kick it over to Spoon. What's something that you have been listening to in the rotation
yeah.
as of
So
late?
from a couple weeks back, it, keeping on with the singles theme here that we've got going on, um, Arch Enemy dropped another single from their upcoming album, Deceivers. We talked about the first single from this album, Deceiver, Deceiver, on a previous episode before we brought Larry into the fold here. But they just dropped a new one a couple weeks ago. Um, it's called Handshake with Hell. And it's probably my favorite of the. They've released 3 singles now. This is the latest. It's probably my favorite of the 3. Um, the guitars, they've got a really classic Arch Enemy vibe. They keep that nice kind of classic 80s metal vibe with Jeff and Michael go crazy with the solos. But what really stuck out to me on this one is Alyssa's vocals. Her harsh vocals are just as hard and powerful as ever. But with this one, they've incorporated some cleans in there, which is it's not a it's not a new thing for Arch Enemy. They have incorporated some cleans before, but I've never been a huge Arch Enemy fan, so
Mm-hmm.
this is the first I've heard of Alyssa's cleans, and they're wonderful. She's got a great singing voice. When she keeps it clean, it's soulful. It's kind of got an almost angelic vibe to it, and then she can put just a little bit of grit and power into it, and it's incredible. I really hope that this single is kind of indicative of Arch Enemy broadening their sound and kind of going in a little bit more of a different direction than the kind of classic Arch Enemy vibe that we've gotten, where every song kind of sounds the same.
I've I'm a huge fan of Deceiver Deceiver. I like Arch Enemy. I've been seeing they've been getting a little bit of flack. You know, it's not a lot of people's cup of tea, but I agree with you 1,000%, Spoon. I'm getting very excited for the album, and I also can hear Alyssa, like her vocals progress through each album. You know, if you go back and listen to the early stuff when she first came on, you can definitely hear her get stronger and stronger through each album. And I think, we're at the peak at the
Yeah, it
moment.
definitely feels like they're kind of hitting their stride. Alyssa's vocals,
Yep.
she seems to be, at least from the little. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge Arch Enemy fan. I'm not intimately familiar with their discography, but I have heard some of their older stuff, and like you said, it does sound like she's progressing with her vocals, getting more confident in herself. And I think the cleans that we hear in this are a great indication of that. You don't get that with Arch Enemy very often, and it it's really encouraging to see them kind of broaden their horizons into that aspect.
Yep.
So yeah, another album that I have my eyes on upcoming with singles that were released recently, Era. So I did like get all of the things figured out with that because it's a little crazy. So they did release their self-titled a year ago on March 19th, 2021. And then like very, very, very soon after, I want to say like 6 months after, they released an entirety of it as an instrumental. And now they're going to be releasing a deluxe version with a bunch of new singles. Um, they have one, two, three, four new songs, it looks like, and then three covers. And they released Vanish Canvas, the newest version of that song featuring Courtney LaPlante of Spirit Box, and that was fantastic. I love that. Um, and then the three covers, which actually seem pretty interesting, they're going to cover Stockholm Syndrome by Muse, Light My Way by Audio Slave, and Heresy by Nine Inch Nails.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay, that's a
so
eclectic mix. I like
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I'm pretty hyped. I've never really listened to Era. These are these bands that I've heard of that like that when I'm looking for things to listen to, I'm like, oh yeah, I know these dudes. They were on Warped Tour one of the times I went, and so I started listening to it. It's pretty good. I liked it. Very hyped for that release. And then what was it, Moontooth? What done is yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was pretty dope as well. I love
Oh,
that. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I had never another band that I've never heard of before. And I think Spoon, you put something in the chat, and I was like, well, let me look it up. Why not? And I listened to it, and it was pretty dope. I liked it a lot. So that'll be another release that I am looking forward to coming up here soon.
quick before we forget, once this episode is over, go listen to Awe at All Angles by Moontooth.
All right, all right.
Is
At all angles.
whew,
I'll just pull up Moontooth right now on Apple Music, so that way it's like impossible for me not to forget.
perfect. I absolutely love Moontooth. I think they've got a very unique sound. It's one of those things where they're not like when you think of metal, they're not overtly metal. They don't have that, crude aggressive sound, but my god, it is just musically they are just maestros.
So right off that point, and something that I was talking to somebody about recently, and something that I've noticed in a lot of some of the older stuff that I've been listening to, and maybe it's just that I'm not listening to the right bands, but heavy metal back in the day did not mean unclean vocals at all.
Yep.
It was literally just the instrumentation. So I think that's a very interesting thing to see kind of evolve over time to how like yes, the instrumentation is still important, but I really feel like vocals have taken a forefront center stage on what a lot of people would really define as this is metal, this is not metal. And not even like metal heads or people who are into metal, but like you have to think I don't think that category is the overwhelming majority of music listeners. And I would say the overwhelming majority of music listeners, I would say right now, would define it as unclean versus clean and how much there is in the songs.
Yeah,
That's fair.
it's absolutely a fair assessment.
So yeah, I just find that a very interesting evolution just because like the Titans, like Metallica, I go back and listen to it and I'm like, there's not really uncleans in this whatsoever. Like he's just kind of shouting maybe like it's not like it's never like actually like screaming um which and then I go back and listen and think about some of the song like some of the music that I've listened to in the past and some of the stuff that like in 2012 and 2013 and that time that I was listening to it people were like oh that's not even heavy but I'm like I mean, if you stack this up next to like a good Metallica song, it sounds a little heavier because of the vocals to some people, and it's like it's just such a
Hmm.
crazy like parallel that's
One of
happening.
my favorite things that I've ever seen anybody comment. It was on I think it was on the Baba Yaga video from Slaughter to Prevail, and somebody left a comment down on it saying that Slaughter to Prevail sounds like what non-metalheads think Metallica sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what I think that's what's so crazy when you really get down into the people that are really into the genre. And I mean, we've talked about the gatekeeping of the genre. I mean, the people outside of the genre wouldn't last. It would be over in a day because like they come in, they're like, oh yeah, like Pierce the Veil is really heavy, and just be like, what? Excuse me? What did you just say? And stuff like that. And it's just so interesting that parallel. But yeah, we got so much more because there's been so much that's come out. And it's single time. It's single time and announce an album announcement time because you can release a single right now and use that for like 6 freaking months. You can push that out as far as you want. We're gonna get the really soon albums and the really late album announcements right now. So the content is flowing. What were some other stuff? Larry, we will swing over to you. Um, what was something that you've been having heavy in the rotation that's come out the past couple weeks?
I don't know if we talked the last time since the new Corn
No, we
came
haven't.
out.
No, we did not.
Uh, I love Corn, and I'm a big fan of this new album. I definitely think we're in like I don't know what phase we would say, but we'll call it phase 4 of their sound. And you know you go back and you kind of hear like a 2-3 album run where they're kind of married to this idea of what they want to sound like. And I love right now it's kind of like a not dark and sludgy like their early albums, but it's kind of gloomy and groovy. Um, Great bass lines, which is always a Corn trademark. Big fan. Short album, quick and to the point. I liked it more than their previous album, even though I think they came out with arguably their best song of their entire career with "Can You Hear Me." But big fan, start to finish, of what they have for Requiem. And then I did. This is my introduction to these guys. Spoon put it out there too. Zeal and Ardor.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Fellas, are you kidding me with
Oh,
this? I
it's
mean,
it's incredible.
I don't know what to call it. It is absolutely incredible. I don't
It's
even know what
it's
to call it.
gospel meets black metal.
It's like yes. I was gonna say, um, damn it, like gothic ambient death,
Damn it,
but
Bobby.
what you said is perfect. It's got uh blues with its metal. It's got
Yeah, it's real funky. It's real funky.
it goes everywhere,
Yeah.
track to track. You're in like 5 to 7 different subgenres. It's incredible. They're
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
they're all
it's
great.
they are. They are. It's a
it's
really good project.
absolutely one of the best things that I've heard this year. It's right up there with the three deathcore releases that came out in January. The Enterprise Earth, Fit for an Autopsy, Shadow
Fit
of
for an
Intent. It's
autopsy,
right up
Shadow of
there
Intent.
with
Yeah,
them. I've got it right up there in that same category as far as like potential album of the year candidate. It's
yeah. Same here.
it's
Go ahead.
it can be a really jarring experience. Um, like the first time I listened to it, I just kind of like sat there for a minute afterwards, and I'm like, I really liked this album, but I can't put my finger on how much I liked it, just because the mashing up of like, what if gospel met Scandinavia and black metal? It's so hard to kind of wrap your head around on the first listen. I've listened to it probably two or three more times, before I could finally really solidify that yeah, this is a strong album of the year contender already for me.
And guys, listen to what he said. Gospel with Scandinavian black metal. You might have like your first impression is like, oh, so it sounds like really poorly produced guitars and hymns. Like, no,
No,
it.
No.
As soon as you
yeah,
hear
it's
it, you'll
it's it's it's
understand it.
Yeah.
modern Scandinavian black metal, not the old school black metal. We recorded this in a dumpster, but super well produced, but still has the black metal tones in the guitar, the really highs that the lead singer hits. It's so weird, but it works so well.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. And speaking of an album that I took a couple listens to really place, because it's a band that seemingly is jumping everywhere. At least one that I've had my eye on. It's a fearless release. As It Is. I don't know if either of you two are familiar with As It Is at all.
I'm not either.
I'm not.
Um, they're a British pop punk band. However, they just released an album called I Went to Hell and Back. It is not like As It Is I've heard before. It's very much, I would say, close to, I mean, it's not even easy core because it's not a beat. It's really like there's a, like I just said about unclean vocals, and that's like one of the things that's really been blowing me away because it's not something that I've seen from them before. But there's a lot of unclean vocals in this album. So it kind of like a post-hardcore ish. Um, even it's not like the instrumentation is still a bit light on the poppier punkish side. But I mean, it's even venturing on, like, I would say, like that Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens, but like the lead singer's name, the lead man, his name's Patty Walters. He also does the percussion apparently now. And his voice isn't that high, so it's like you can mistake it for a female. Because I remember when I was listening to Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens back in the day, I would show people this and they'd be like, "Oh my god, is that a girl?" And I'm like, "No, it's just a really high pitched guy." Like, like what's the deal? What's
Some
the
of the
deal here?
highs that Kellen hits,
Um,
man, it's insane.
I don't. Are you guys familiar with
Yes.
King for a Day? Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay. When we get off of this, Larry, I want you to don't watch the music video because that will ruin my point. But I want you to spin King for a Day and tell me if you can pick Vic Fuentes from Kellen Quinn,
All
because
right.
they basically they will trade, and it's like, oh wow, that's weird. Um, I have that album on vinyl. I love that album. Clyde with the Sky was incredible. Somebody else that needs to announce something. We've already talked about that, but um, yeah, there's been so much, a lot of music. And there's still stuff I feel like I'm forgetting because like I said, there is just so much coming out. Corey Taylor released a new song. I don't know if either of you guys saw that. I didn't listen to
I
it yet.
saw that
Um,
that he dropped it, but I haven't listened to it.
yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. Um, I'm just trying. There's I listened to the new Coheed and Cambria, and that was all right. I wasn't blown away. Uh, um, there was a new Devil Wears Prada song too. I think the Watchtower is what it's
I just heard
called.
that as well.
I loved that. That was really good. I loved that. I thought it was fantastic. I was never really into the Devil Wears Prada back when I was like really heavy into metalcore and all of that. So like going back and listening to this, it's like kind of like, oh, maybe I should give some of their older stuff a spin. The one I remember, I think, was the Sailor's Prayer. I think that was them. I forget. But I'm just trying to like go through Apple Music right now and see some of the stuff that's coming up, not that just necessarily released. Um, I'm not sure if there was anything else you guys specifically wanted to point out.
Well, I remember Cult of Luna.
Yeah,
I just remember like talking about it with Spoon. You weren't as high on it. I liked Cult of Luna's new piece. Ambient death metal. I thought it was pretty good. I got some Rivers of Nile, Fit for an Autopsy type sound. I call it if metal had jam
I
bands.
mean, yeah,
My takeaway.
that's a good summation of it. It didn't really hit for
Me
me.
too.
Like I hear some of those Rivers of Nile vibes and some of the Fit for an Autopsy vibes. It didn't really hit for me. It was all right. I'm not mad that I listened to it by any stretch, but it was just kind of there for me. It's not something that grabbed me. It's not something that I'm gonna add to my Spotify playlist or be sitting around thinking, oh, I'm gonna give Cult of Luna's new album another spin. But it was all right.
I
Um,
recommended it to my hippie friend.
Nice.
Spoon, you had mentioned this. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it, but what was your opinions on the new Muse
Yeah.
song?
So that was coming back to Muse and kind of their whole vibe. They released a new song, uh, "Won't Back Down." something like that. I can't remember the exact title. But it was kind of metal, which was kind of surprising to hear from Muse. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm the world's biggest Muse fan, but it was a big departure from what I remember Muse sounding like in the kind of Absolution and Black Holes and Revelations days. And honestly, it's something that I probably
Mhm.
wouldn't have given a listen to if I hadn't seen one of my favorite YouTubers, Tank the Tech, uh, posted a reaction video to it. So I watched that and heard the song there, and I was impressed. It was honestly really good. The lead singer Matt Bellamy, his vocals are still what you would expect from a Muse song. It has that vibe. It's kind of the same vocal patterns and showing off his falsetto. But what really kind of touches into the metal world here is the instrumentals, the tones that you're getting from the guitars, from the bass. It's really kind of dirty and fuzzy in a good way. It's not I'm not throwing shade at them. It was really nice to hear that from them. And there's even some, what some might consider breakdowns in the song. So it's one of those songs that I feel like would be a really good beginner metal song for people who are wanting to explore the genre but not ready to dive into something really heavy like a Slaughter to Prevail or brutal death metal. It's a good kind of easing them into it, getting them familiar with kind of the lower muddier tones that you're going to get from instrumentals. It's got some really kind of moderately fast drum kicking in there. And there's even kind of a really kind of heavily processed scream, but a scream nonetheless, from Matt, kind of layered in there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not something that maybe Larry or I would consider heavy, but it's heavy for Muse, and it's something that would get people that are into Muse. I think it's something that might get them to explore more heavy genres.
Always a fan
Okay.
of that.
Yeah, it's
Won't
called
stand
"Won't
down.
Stand
There we
Down,"
go.
so very, very close. Yeah, and there is a music video as well, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Um, yeah, I've listened to a couple of Muse songs, and crazy enough, I have not heard "Supermassive Black Hole." It's one of the ones I haven't heard. Uh, so yeah, that's something I definitely want to check out. And apparently Census Fail has a new album coming out in a couple of months, so that is something I'm gonna check out because they've been on an interesting little genre curve here, because they're not nearly as heavy as they used to be. Um, but yeah, lots of stuff that has come out that we've been listening to very heavily. Is there anything else that we wanted to cap off on?
Did you guys hear about Dave Grohl came out with his little fake band? They
I've
just
heard
released a
about it.
single.
I haven't heard it yet.
Who? What's his little well, what's his little fake band? Because this would be another one.
So it's called they're called Dream Widow, and they
Dream
came out
Widow.
with a single March of the Insane, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Kind of thrashy. It chugged a little bit different vocals from her, a little bit from him, a little bit more scratchy. It's I enjoyed it. It was pretty
Well,
good. I'm pulling up the album here.
I mean, y'all know I'm a very, very, very big Dave Grohl fan because Virginia represent. Um, he is from Charlottesville, so that's huge for the state. Um,
So yeah, it's just a single.
yeah, okay. Because I was about to say, is this like another DG's thing? Because that was absolutely incredible.
From what I've
But
Did you guys see
Oh,
that?
go ahead.
Do you know
No.
what I'm talking about? You don't know the DGs?
the Dave Grohl's.
Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters covered 5 or 6 Bee Gees songs.
Oh my
Interesting.
god.
They are absolutely fucking incredible. I heavily and it's like a couple of the hits, Not Staying Alive. I applaud them for not doing that because that doesn't need to be done. Um but like a lot of really good ones. It also made me realize I know a lot more Bee Gees song than I thought I did. Um, because they're just kind of pervasive in popular culture and in areas that you're just like, yeah, I've definitely heard this before. But yeah, it's definitely something I would recommend. But I'm definitely gonna have to listen to this new Dave Grohl because, as I said, big Dave Grohl fan,
Yeah,
big Foo Fighters fan.
from what I've
Um,
read, it's a kind of a experiment, kind of to public publicize a movie that they've got coming out. They've
yes,
yeah,
they have a movie coming out.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
they have a
the
movie
name of the
coming out.
band is the band
Yeah, that looks good.
from that movie.
Okay, okay, this
Yep.
makes so much more sense. This makes so much more sense.
Okay.
This is all tracking now.
I mean, it works because it makes me want to watch the movie. Actually,
Exactly.
Oh yeah, nice. And see, I've seen the movie trailer, and now I'm like, yo, wait, I want to hear this song. So I mean, like, man, social media just
Hmm.
knows. Uh, yeah. Man, this is so interesting. And I'll tell you in a little bit why it's interesting. Um, so yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I've got one
Because
more on the album
cool.
front. Another for me
Yes.
going to be an album of the year contender. It was the release by Venom Prison called Erebus.
oh yeah, yeah.
We need little sound effects when we say album of the year contenders, like a like something to be like like a fire, something in the background.
We'll talk to Ronnie about
Um,
that.
we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved
Anyways, yeah.
this album. It's at its core, it is a death metal album, but there is a lot of experimentation going on with the album, more so than anything that they've released previously. This is a pretty far departure from their last album, which was also really good. But this one is kind of seeing them expand their borders. They're mixing in a lot of hardcore elements. They're mixing in a lot of sort of um, mellow death with their guitars and some of their vocal patterns, getting a lot more melodic at times. They're even, a couple of their songs show off Larissa's cleans, which I loved again. Um, but it was just a really, really solid album, I thought. There was only really one kind of low point to me. It was their song Pain of Oasis. I love all of the elements in the song individually. It just felt like they didn't come together to make a cohesive song. It really feels like two different songs kind of battling each other. There's a lot of really cool, kind of subdued instrumental stuff going on. There's some piano in it, but then they also kind of come back to their sound and mix a lot of brutal, hard hitting vocals and fast patterns. And it, like I said, individually, I like all of the pieces there. They just don't combine. But that was the only real miss on the album for me. The rest of the album is incredible, and if you're a death metal fan and haven't listened to it yet, you need to go check it out.
I uh, I saw so much hype with it on Twitter. I saw you gassing it up, and I saw everybody else I was following just blowing this thing away. They thought it was incredible. Excuse me, damn. They're blowing this metal album away, and I listened to it, and I was just missing it. You know, I kept spinning and spinning, and I was missing it. And on the fifth one, I think is when I put in headphones to listen to it, and that's when it finally clicked, and I was able to hear all the intricate details. You know, the melodeath guitar patterns, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This is really good. I'm not blown away by it like everybody else was, but I do think it's very good. And once I put in the headphones to hear the whole sound, everything clicked.
You gotta get a good car listen in.
That's what I was listening to it though.
Oh man.
It
Oh
was the
man.
car listen, and then the headphones.
See,
chilling in the apartment.
I say that from a very spoiled place because just by happenstance, all of the sound systems in my cars have been just absolutely bonkers. So, like, I've always had like the one I have right now is freaking Dolby surround sound. So, I mean, man, my car is stupid, and like sometimes go into a parking lot and I'm like, I'm sorry, but then other days I'm like, nah, deal with it. Um, yes. So I want to transition into a very interesting question that was posed in the chat last night for this episode. And we'll start it off by saying one, I freaking loved the halftime show. I was at a Super Bowl party for the Super Bowl, which I now realize I don't know how much being a fan of football and somebody who also writes for football and does like pregame stuff and have bets. I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of Super Bowl parties because it really takes away from your ability to watch the game.
Yep.
100%.
And it also gets you inebriated much quicker than you intend to be. And I have to be honest, I took a nap during the third quarter. I missed some things and woke up and was like, "Hey, we got to drive. Let's see what's going on." And the Rams won, and I was like, hit my little string here that keeps my pen in my computer. I was like, "Oh, hey, yay, Rams win." But I was awake for the halftime show. Let me tell you. And one, I am very happy I did not have to watch it with my grandparents and my mom. One, because it just would have been awkward, not because it's just something they're not into. Two, to yesterday, I had to explain to both my mom and grandmother what G Funk is, and that's something I never thought I would have to do in my life. Three, when Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg finished their first little bit and pointed down, because I was not in the know about this. 50 Cent came out, I lost it because that was that like surprise guests sometimes can make or break the show, and not that it was needing to make or break the show, it just only added. That halftime show was amazing. I'm not going to try to sit here and act like it was the best Super Bowl halftime show ever because there's a lot that I've missed due to my age. I'm not going to try to sit here say it's better than Michael Jackson, it's better than
It was better than Michael Jackson and Prince. Fight me.
See, I can't.
okay. I mean I'll
I
let
can't.
someone else say.
I'm not there. I loved the show. Don't get me wrong.
I've heard the Prince I've heard the
Yeah.
Prince one's too iconic. I've heard the Prince one is too
It,
iconic, and to the same extent that in some of the examples of stuff that the people in or some of the performers in this halftime show were told to do things and they did not.
mm-hmm.
Prince did the same thing in his halftime show. And Scott, I don't talk about other or podcasts very often. However, I'm a very big listener of the SV Pod with Scott Van Pelt. On the one before the halftime show or before the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure he tells a fantastic story about Prince's halftime show. Oh no! It was Bomani's recent one. Never mind. I thought it was Scott Van Pelt because they both are very like. Roger Goodell is a very interesting person, but he's not necessarily a bad person. Like he's not great for the NFL, but he's not a bad person. Um, and there's just been a lot of weird things that he's just had to sit there and be like, all right, this is happening. I can't do anything. I can't tell Prince what to do. I can't tell Snoop Dogg what to do. I can't tell Dr. Dre what to do. He told Kendrick what to do. They made Kendrick listen because they edited that one hard. Because I was surprised. I was surprised they were playing all right in the first place. I'm happy they did. Now, the question actually, before we get into the question that was proposed, I wanted to get your guys' takes because I've been going on about this. I was in love. As you guys know, I freaking listen to rap all the time. It's my most listened to genre. It's actually put me onto more Dr. Dre songs that I had not heard before. Anyways, what did you guys think?
It was all right.
No, I loved the show. I thought it was, for me, it wasn't better than Prince's show, but it was definitely a top 3 show. It really hit you. It hit me in that really nice nostalgia part where I was just really, really vibing with it. I loved the show. It was great.
everybody knows the words. Everybody can sing along. The One of the things that when I was talking to my mom about it afterwards that she saw some people were saying is that some people complained that Mary J. Blige played the songs that she played. But the one thing I don't think people realize is they were only playing songs
Yep.
produced by Dr. Dre. She was not going to play Real Love. That was not produced by Dr. Dre. That was not going to be an option. Also, another interesting thing that I noticed and that was pointed out in some of my listens posts is that nothing besides California Love, nothing before
Hmm.
2001 was played. Dr. Dre's 2001. So the question was posed: is that the point in time where he has full ownership of his masters of his music, and that's why he chose those
I
specific songs?
believe so, but don't quote me on that.
Probably.
Yeah. So a lot of very interesting little things that you have to take into account when you're thinking about these. What my only complaint, and I know why it had to happen because you couldn't make him play any other song. I would have preferred a different Eminem song than "Lose Yourself."
I wanted at least
Yeah.
another.
At least another. I mean, granted I understand they have a time limit, and Snoop and Dre were definitely the ones that were going to get the most love. Um, but man, I get it. I understand mom spaghetti. It's a thing. It's like you have to that had to have been a Super Bowl halftime prop if mom spaghetti was going to be said. Um, yeah, I there's just so much, and it's specifically because Dre produced so many great songs for Eminem. Now, granted, and this is something that I've thought has been interesting with some discourse on Twitter about Kanye recently. I've been going back and with listening to my to the going back and listening to songs with Dre producing. Say what you want about Kanye West, but he's not actively talking about murdering his wife
Yeah.
in music. And I don't think people realize how crazy it is to go back and listen to Eminem's discography and actually take just a half a second to listen to what he's actually saying. And it's like, oh, okay, that's that was said. Because if that was happening now, like there would be like Kanye wouldn't even be like registering on the scale. Granted, I'm not at all dismissing at anything that Kanye is doing. It's a very interesting and weird and awkward situation that I'd rather not discuss at all. But I just for the point of sake that I mean Eminem was talking about killing his wife. Ex-wife. Um, crazy, crazy. So um, yeah, opinions good all around. Fantastic show. But as I said, the question was posed in the chats: who would we want in the hip hop, or not the hip hop? Gosh, in the rock metal world realm to do a halftime show? Surprise, yes, if you would. I'm gonna let you guys kick it off because I kind of want to I talk mine up so much, but it's just like so great of an idea, and I want to hear who you guys say first because part of who you guys are going to say could possibly play into my argument of what I have to say. So between the two of you,
Kick it
whoever
off,
wants to go
Larry.
first.
Alrighty. So I'm going into this with the notion that I understand, just like this most recent halftime show, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. That's fine. I'm also going to try and keep the same format with, the main guest and then maybe a featuring guest with some surprises to keep, that fun flair. And I'm also going to try and go with bring everybody in and then some fan favorites, I guess. Because you have to play Lose Yourself for
Hmm.
everybody.
Yes, I
So
know.
I'm trying to keep that. Once I keep going, you'll understand. So I'm going to start it off. It's billed as the headliner. It's going to be Metallica.
Okay. Okay.
So that's your standard to bring everybody in, and they can play, a couple riffs, couple licks. They've got to play Enter Sandman. That's their Lose Yourself. They
Oh
have to.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I'm hoping they'll play. I'm hoping, like I did just set this up. they got to play, Master of Puppets. Like they've got to throw it out to the thrash OGs,
Mm-hmm.
and then to bring it up a little bit more modern, Slipknot comes on.
Are you just going for like all the bands that like posh metal is just like no?
Well, actually, I'll go into my thoughts a little bit after that. But then, so and this is how it's gonna start. Oh, I'm getting giddy. All right, Metallica like wraps up their last song, and it's dead quiet, and all of a sudden you just hear Corey Taylor's voice. I push my fingers into my, and then they rise up, and the musicians start playing, and then Slipknot starts playing Duality, and then they play a couple licks, couple riffs, and then I play a little bit more fan tribute, and I got Korn pop on the stage too. So now I've got the old heads, the thrash OGs with Metallica scratching their itch, and then like the dad rockers at the same time. A little bit more homage to, I don't want to say traditional metal because it's still Slipknot, but like, if they'll play some songs from Iowa, get people happy, the new metal kids get those people happy. Korn comes on, same thing. And then now I'm going to do a little bit more of a like a modern headliner. Maybe not selling out arenas, but I was thinking maybe like Ice Nine Kills for the kids and for the metalcore kids, stuff like that.
That'd be interesting. The only issue I have there is I don't know how you would tie their aesthetic into the rest of the performers.
I
Only
don't give a
because
shit.
they have. Well, yeah, but like if you had done something like where you had gone like Motionless in White and freaking Ice Nine Kills and like done like a horror-esque kind of thing, I could see that. But
I just kind of wanted to do like
the
super, and then I wanted
Drink to the
somebody that was tearing. I didn't want that. I wanted somebody that was blowing up right now. I was gonna do Parkway Drive, the headline at Vakken, but that's my favorite band. I think it would have been too biased, and it wouldn't have hit as well as I would have liked it to. And I think
man, I'm so off of the modern game that I can't like get one right now that I'd be like, okay, yeah, I got you. It's like Warped Tour hasn't happened in like freaking 4 or 5 years. I'm so out of it.
It was between like Ice Nine Kills and Beartooth for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Beartooth, but and I think that would be really good. Yeah. Beartooth would slap, and I think they've toured with the likes of some of those bands before. Possible addition that like you might think of, but it would definitely play in AC/DC as the opener before to like build up Metallica.
I think they're too old.
Are they? They're still releasing music.
They are, but when the Who did it, all those years ago, they were limping to the barn.
Oh yeah.
I don't want that.
All right. Spoon.
Yeah.
You got something?
I do. It's not as in depth as Larry here, but I kind of went a similar direction with it. Also going to be Metallica focused. But I'm kind of keeping it with that theme of where this halftime show was only songs that Dr. Dre had produced. This one is going to be only Metallica songs. So I would love to see Metallica come out, like you said, play Inner Sandman, play maybe.
And then Dave Mustaine.
I'm getting there.
I thought about it too.
Yeah. You got Inner Sandman, maybe kind of make a medley of Inner Sandman and Fade to Black, Seek and Destroy, something like that. And then partway through they come in and they're going to play something off their first album, and Dave Mustaine joins them on stage.
I'd lose my mind.
Exactly. Give you that same feeling of when Fitty popped down. And then it's for the rest of the show,
and it's still Metallica.
Yeah, exactly. It's still Metallica. And then for the rest of the show, you got bands that were on their re-release of the Black album. So bring in a Volbeat,
Miley Cyrus,
bring in a Miley Cyrus, bring in a Volbeat, bring in a Ghost, playing their
Do you know how
covers.
much that would bring the house down,
Oh
though?
yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
know how wild that would be, though? Like, think about the next day. Metallica brings out Miley Cyrus at the Super Bowl halftime show. That would blow everything up.
You could have done Lady
Yeah,
Gaga too, because she performed with him at the Grammys.
and it was
Oh,
actually
really?
really good. The pre-Grammy taping when everything was working well.
The microphone
Yeah,
didn't go out. Yeah, I was torn. I wanted to. God, I don't know. I'm upset because that's not going to happen. Like I want Dave Mustaine to start to play, the Four
yeah.
Horsemen, but I I didn't know where to draw the line on being, too heavy commercially. But then I thought about like, well, I mean, if we're looking at the times, NWA and Snoop Dogg, that's lyrically way
Oh
too
yeah.
heavy commercially, but they didn't play.
Okay. So you guys ready? Sorry.
Yeah,
I had a really crazy message on my phone. I can't really go into detail. I'll tell you guys about it after. Um, all right. So I love y'all's ideas. However, there
oh
needs to
boy,
be a catalyst. There needs to be a catalyst. Just as there was a catalyst, and it's perfect because you guys did exactly what I thought you would do and put it into my hand. And there was a catalyst for this halftime show that we just saw to happen. And that is, I don't know if our listeners know this, but a couple years ago, Rock Nation and Jay-Z
definitely don't know this.
made a deal with the NFL to partner for the halftime performances and selections. So you got a catalyst there. All right. We need somebody to walk so we can run with Metallica and Slipknot. And what better idea than to tap into nostalgia yet again for one of the most talked about periods of 90s music, featuring a man that is not only a one but two-time inductee to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have a grunge halftime show featuring Foo Fighters up front, Dave Grohl, which is why it was wild when you brought up freaking Dave Grohl earlier. Partnered, as much as this pains to say me and you guys are going to laugh, with Pearl Jam.
I can dig it.
Foo Fighters and Pearl Jam. Now the problem comes in that Dave Grohl did a lot to distance himself from grunge after Nirvana, but there's no bigger name. And right now you have somebody who is currently actively touring and still making music and would be a fantastic draw. You have surprise performances from Stone Temple Pilots, who are still going at it. Come in, drop some freaking Vaseline and Interstate Love Song. Bring all that in. And then your final one, for a little bit more modern touch, is Weezer.
Where's Alice in Chains?
Alice in Chains was one of the surprise guests. That would be surprise guests coming from like Foo Fighters and Pearl Jam.
I was gonna come through the screen if I
Now,
heard. Oh,
that's my really 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 like this one would make sense and it can work because that grunge period, like as much as we talk about how ingrained like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, G Funk, Tupac, all of that is into popular culture. What is one of the most popular band logos that exists on the planet? Nirvana. Do you know how long Burt Kreischer was in college longer than grunge existed? That was popular. And and I pulled that from one of his stand-ups. See, that's like a joke that he tells. Um, like, but grunge is so heavily like talked about and discussed. Why not bring Foo Fighters in for a little show? Get some of the early ones. And who doesn't know Foo Fighters? Who doesn't know Foo Fighters? Everyone knows Foo Fighters.
Yeah, see,
It
my
would
my
rock.
only problem with this show that you've presented, and this might just be a purely me thing, it's gonna hit the nostalgia, but I don't think it's gonna hit it in a appreciable way for me because for me, hearing those classic Stone Temple Pilots songs, hearing those classic Alice in Chains songs without their original vocalists, I don't know.
Okay, so okay. That's that's fair for them. That's fair for them. But Pearl Jam still's got Eddie Vedder going on. So then you make it a three-way jam between Weezer, Pearl Jam, and Foo Fighters. You bring on the guests for one song, maybe for the surprise vocalist, because okay, I didn't know Alice in Chains didn't have the original vocalist, so that would have played into why they weren't mentioned. But my other one that would just blow me the hell away is Kevin Lyman picks up the phone from Jay-Z and he goes, "Hey, I need you to bring Warped Tour to the Super Bowl. Warped Tour Super Bowl halftime show. Screw when we were young. We'll do it at the Super Bowl. Screw it. We'll do it live." Um, then that's just a personal like. I know Kevin Lyman has the. All right, and we're back. Slight technical difficulties, but anyways, yeah. Kevin Lyman picks up the phone and he's like, "Yeah, you gotta do Super Bowl halftime show." So I'm only saying Kevin Lyman because I know he has the connects. So I want Blank in the Super Bowl. I don't care. I would actually prefer it not be Mark Hoppus because I prefer non-Mark Hoppus because I don't or not what am I saying? Tom DeLonge. My bad. Tom DeLonge, not Mark Hoppus. I love Mark Hoppus. He's cancer free now. Yay. It's great. Anyways, I want Blink 182 at the Super Bowl halftime show. Of course they have to play all the small things, but their catalog is so vast. Put Fall Out Boy up there with them. Put Green Day up there with them.
And Good Charlotte.
I mean, we could do Good Charlotte.
I'd love to hear some Good Charlotte.
You have to do Good Charlotte. Are you shitting me, Zach? You gotta do Good Charlotte. It's Sum 41.
All fine and great. When the last one I was gonna say is in your surprise is at the end, you get that piano and My Chemical Romance comes out to play Welcome to the Black Parade.
I can dig it.
Although I don't know if I might be bigger of a My Chemical Romance fan than you guys are.
So I'm a huge My Chemical Romance fan. Good Charlotte, I love My Chem.
Good Charlotte was not one of the ones that I got into. That was just before me. It was just before me. Staying Power. Blink and Fallout are still releasing music. They had no gaps.
So it's good.
Is Good Charlotte still consistently?
Larry's just flabbergasted over there.
That's your measuring stick?
I know
that's your measuring stick?
That's not my measuring stick, but I'm saying like when I'm talking about like
how many My Chemical Romance songs are on a Madden game? How many My Chemical Romance songs are in the American Pie franchise? How many My Chemical Romance songs were married to Cameron Diaz and Hillary Duff?
Wait. Isn't the only one for Good Charlotte in the American franchise just the anthem?
There's the anthem. There's Lifestyles Rich and Famous. There's I'm going to come through this screen and whoop your ass for not including Good Charlotte or Sum 41.
Sum 41, I would totally be down for. I mean, that's only if frontman dude's good is up to do it because I mean I know he's got some personal shit going on. So,
and then where's Avril?
She's gonna be in Las Vegas doing When We Were Young for the 17th show in a row for however many days they're gonna decide to do this show. I mean, okay, realistically, can they just keep adding on days? Because I mean, basically what's happening is they sell out and they're like, "Oh man, well, yeah, guys, you still want to go? We'll do it again. We'll do it tomorrow." And then that's sold out and they're like, "Oh, what about a third day?" Like when does it stop? Eventually somebody's going to be like, "Clear the schedules. When We Were Young is a year-round tour." Like just every day
the same sets
that signed on. That's what was in the terms and conditions. They didn't know. They signed on for a 365-day festival. They're there for life. They're making bank, but they got to perform every day.
I wouldn't put it past Live Nation to do something like that.
Nah, that's I don't know about that. I wouldn't put it past Astro World to do that.
That's fair.
But I don't know about Live Nation. No, I need to start looking at some concerts because I haven't been to a concert in a while. I mean, if I'm gonna get if this writing job's a possibility, I probably need to get the vaccine because, well, hey, I'm getting my apartment, so that's what I've always said is once I get my apartment, I'm gonna get vaccinated. So, boom. But yeah, those will be my picks for Super Bowl halftime show. I definitely want the grunge one more than the than the pop punk slash emo one, because that, I mean, I just feel like the grunge one has a lot more appeal. Also, something that I think we are all realizing as we well, not specifically as we sit here, but something that a good majority of the United States well, not a good majority, but a good percentage of the United States population realized as they sat down and watched that Super Bowl halftime show is they now understand why the Who were selected to be in the halftime show, because you got to go with the dominating demographic,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and we are now becoming the dominating demographic. There's a reason why it was the weekend. Although one of the things I argued and why I felt like this year was a lot better than last year, because I actually, okay, sound aside, because I think that's what destroyed the weekend's performance last year, is the sound quality was
Yes.
horrific. But he made it more about the album release that he had done and a story, whereas I'm sorry, bud, I understand you're the weekend, but this is the Super Bowl. Treat it like a Super Bowl performance. Like, I felt like it was it was like way too much, as opposed to where you just had, I mean, they, one thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the way they had the field laid out was in the base, like the stylings of LA
Mm-hmm.
County. And the way they had all that set up, my mom was like, she's like, "Oh yeah, I like the houses," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, the houses. That was really cool. That was really cool. Whatever." It, like, the whole thing in general. I mean, it was fantastic. Personally, one of the things I felt was missing is I don't understand why you can't have Snoop Dogg in California smoking a joint on stage. It's California. It's Snoop Dogg. We all know it's not like there's anything groundbreaking there. Like, also, Martha Stewart was in the crowd, and it's just amazing that they just follow each other everywhere they go. Yep. So, anything else that we wanted to add onto this episode, gentlemen?
I've got nothing.
Yeah, we
Anything extremely pressing about to release that, like, we should let the people know about? I'm not quite sure on that front. I can do a
I've
quick
got
one.
nothing that's burning a hole in my pocket other than
Yeah.
Ghost and alluding to New Parkway Drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be coming. It's gotta be coming. Do we have a Slipknot date at all, or no?
no date
Let
on
me
that
check.
yet that I've seen.
Corey Taylor does have an EP coming out in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not seeing, I mean, again, I'd say this every time, but I guarantee you there's a lot of stuff on here. That Sabaton comes out in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
Ghost and 4.
really,
So we're a month out from, like, it being heavy hitter season.
yeah. The only thing
I would
the only
say.
thing that's coming up in the next couple of weeks that I am at least moderately interested in is the Corpse Grinder solo album. Kind of kind of interested
Yeah,
to see what he's
yeah.
got there for his solo work.
Oh, oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention earlier, and that I did want to mention that I listened to. Did you guys see the RHCP announcement?
Huh?
Nope.
They're coming out with a new album.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just passed it. Where you at? Red Hot Chili Peppers, Unlimited Love, April 1st. They released a single. It was Red Hot Chili Peppers. It wasn't anything impressive. They didn't say California.
That's something.
There's that. I love me some Red Hot Chili
Yeah,
Peppers.
I get down with Red Hot Chili
Some
Peppers.
good jamming music.
Little
But
bit.
yeah, anyways, this has been episode 10 and 10 and a half of Blast Beats. I hope you all absolutely enjoy. Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter at Zach Nur. Having a little bit more free time now because the NFL season is over. So please give me some entertainment to relieve me of my mundane 9, or not even 9 to 5. I can't even say 9 to 5 because it's whenever the heck they want me to be in the store. But for my job, hit us up. Spoon, Larry, let us know where we can find y'all.
Yeah, I mean, find me the same place as always. I'm at on my personal account on Twitter at Spoonful of Sport, or you can sometimes catch me tweeting from the Blast Beats Twitter account at ATB_Blast Beats.
Then Personal account, Radical Larry 007, and then I'm also slinging memes at the Blast Beats account.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, night, whenever you're listening to this morning. And we will catch y'all very, very soon. Peace out, stay classy, and see y'all real soon.